Okay, I have a theoretical construct that you're going to like here. How big of an object in space would have to be so cold as to be as cold as, like, say, Kelvin, to be a shard of something like a small planetary object, right? So it's flying through space at a planet that's larger than ours, that is mostly fertile, and then it's made out of a water dense water type that is super condensed, like really tight, because it's so cold at the Kelvin level that it actually is enabling it to move around what it's going through, because it's actually riding on a wave. And so there's this planetary body that it just freaking hits, right? Whoom! And instead of it actually hurting the planet and causing a huge dust cloud, what it does is it actually instantly fucking creates a ton of water that goes boosh. Because in space, where it was not able to expand and it kept contracting due to the sublimation effects of lack of having an utter cold and making molecular matter release itself because of disassociation. But when it has a solid core base that's spinning, it can actually create its own gravitron. So that way the water doesn't spin off. It grabs onto other things that are anhydrous and creates a missile like meteor that hit the Earth. And the Earth was bigger, and there were dinosaurs and shit like that, and giant cathedrals of fucking salt, and people lived in them. And they were good people, and they all talked to each other, and they all had one language, but there was another people, and they were broken. And the Earth went poosh, and it went whoosh, and the water released, and it was so cold, it created instant glaciers that went whoosh, and the giant place that they lived had been one giant place, and it caused it to go and that split in two, and the north went to the pole here because the new axis went like this, and instead of going slowly with the sun on a trajectory that enabled more light to come to it because of its size, so herd-like members could continue grazing, the earth collapsed, and then the waters became cold and the glaciers became, and all the people that were there became one because of their frequency. They just never were physical to begin with. And so they existed in an existence that was beyond ours. And so this impact actually was called the shard. And it destroyed the garden, paradise. And so then the people left, and they were given to three governing bodies of angelicism, of what was given. Angels, I'm saying. We were lonely. There were children of the children of, and we were cold and hungry, and nothing was the same because we moved where we moved, and the food was there in front of us. It was always there. We never argued. We never thought we were different. We were just kind of a species that had no knowledge until the idea became that there should be an idea. And that idea became the idea that that idea needed to have a name. And that name of that idea needed to be the only name for that idea. And so that idea was named that. And that name of that idea became the apple. And so the idea became named apple. And those that did not agree with it and called it something else became those people that were not the people of the apple. And so you had the people of the apple, and you had the people of the sea, and you had the people over here. And of other peoples, there began. Because there were more peoples before there were peoples. But when you look at it, because of how big it was, a lot of peoples were swallowed up because it was so cold, you spread out so fast, and their people were taken into the bottom of the ocean. And if you look at the bottom of the ocean, you'll see their runways, and you'll see their pyramids and all the stuff that was left behind, because it sank perfectly, because it deflated. The earth has tributaries and little fjords underneath and everything. And when it was struck by the shard, it was so cold it froze them all and they collapsed. And then the magmax came through and had to reheat the earth. And that's the reason why it was so important to monitor where the mud was still coming out and where the water was still warm. Because we noted that there was none that was left, except for those that were left that had none. Remember the rules? And so now we are here, and God loves us, okay? So we are here. You can believe it any way you want to. Go ahead, create a story. Get creative. I dare you. But remember that if in your creation that you can't lead somebody to a better thing, like this is something that we were supposed to have, and that we should make it better and care, then why would you create something that is beyond that? You're just creating the end of yourself. And that is a non-existence.